Ever wondered who first inhabited the captivating landscapes of Algeria? Let's take a journey back to the ancient times. Long before the onset of written history, the land we now call Algeria was home to the Berbers, a collection of indigenous tribes with distinct cultures and languages. Notable among these were the Numidians and the Garamantes, whose stories are etched in the annals of time. These civilizations thrived, carving out a life amid the vast desert expanses and rugged mountain ranges of northern Africa. But their world was set to change with the arrival of a new power from across the Mediterranean. The Carthaginians, hailing from the city of Carthage in present-day Tunisia, began a series of colonies along the Algerian coast. They brought with them a wealth of knowledge and culture, significantly influencing the region's development. Thus, from the Berbers to the Carthaginians, Algeria's roots run deep into the ancient world. But the Berbers and Carthaginians weren't the only ones to leave their mark on Algeria. Enter the Romans. In the 2nd century BCE, the Roman Empire expanded its reach into North Africa, conquering Algeria and establishing the province of Africa Proconsularis. This wasn't just a military conquest, but a cultural one as well. The Romans built sprawling cities, remarkable infrastructure including roads, aqueducts, and amphitheaters that have stood the test of time. They introduced Latin, which influenced the local languages, and brought in their gods, their art, and their way of life. The Roman rule, while often harsh, brought a level of stability and prosperity to the region. Trade flourished, agriculture thrived, and the Roman law and administration were implemented. The Roman period was an era of significant growth and transformation, and it left a lasting legacy on the Algerian landscape and culture. The Romans, too, shaped Algeria, leaving an indelible footprint on this vast land. From Roman rule, we jump into the 7th century with the arrival of a new force, Islam. This period marked a significant turning point in Algeria's history as the Islamic conquest began to reshape the cultural and religious landscape of the region. Islamic armies, under the banner of the Umayyad Caliphate, swept across North Africa, bringing with them a new religion and a new language, Arabic. The influence of Islam and Arab culture was profound and transformative. Islamic dynasties were established, ruling with a blend of political authority and religious legitimacy. These rulers fostered the spread of Islamic beliefs, practices, and values, while Arabic became the dominant language, replacing Latin and Berber languages that had previously held sway. This process, known as Arabization, was not merely a linguistic shift, but a cultural one. It fundamentally altered the identity of the region, weaving the threads of Arab culture into the fabric of Algerian society. The Islamic conquest brought about a cultural shift, transforming Algeria into an Arabic-speaking land. The 16th century heralded another change in power, with the Ottomans taking the reins. The Ottoman Empire, a force to be reckoned with, extended its influence over Algeria, bringing with it a new chapter of history. This was a time of corsairs and piracy where the Barbary coast became infamous for its seafaring exploits. The Barbary pirates, as they were known, were not mere plunderers of the sea. They were an integral part of the Ottomans' naval power, notorious for their raids on European shipping routes. These corsairs were a thorn in the side of European powers, disrupting trade and capturing vessels, often resulting in diplomatic standoffs and conflicts. But the Barbary coast was not just about piracy, it was a hotbed of geopolitical intrigue, with the Ottomans, European powers, and local leaders constantly vying for control and influence over this strategic region. The Ottoman era, marked by piracy and complex geopolitics, added another layer to Algeria's rich history. As the Ottoman era waned, a new power emerged on the horizon: France. The 19th century saw the French conquest and colonization of Algeria, an event that drastically reshaped the country. The French aimed to make Algeria an extension of France, introducing French language, customs, and laws. However, the Algerian people did not accept this imposition passively. Resistance movements sprouted across the country, like the one led by the charismatic Emir Abdelkader. He rallied tribes and won significant victories against the French, becoming a symbol of Algerian resistance. Yet, despite these efforts, the French maintained control, leading to the Algerian War of Independence in the mid-20th century. This bloody conflict, fought both in the cities and the countryside, eventually led to Algeria's independence in 1962. The French era, though marked by resistance and strife, left a profound impact on Algeria's identity. The struggle for independence was a grueling chapter in Algeria's history. Between 1954 and 1962, Algeria was embroiled in a brutal quest for autonomy known as the Algerian War of Independence. The National Liberation Front, or FLN, emerged as the revolutionary force, representing the will of the Algerian people to liberate themselves from French colonial rule. The FLN employed guerrilla warfare, a form of irregular warfare in which small groups of combatants use military tactics including ambushes, sabotage, raids, and hit-and-run attacks. These tactics were designed to wear down the enemy and gain public support, both domestically and internationally. The war was marked by fierce battles, strategic maneuvers, and a resilient spirit that defied the odds. As the years passed, the international community began to recognize the Algerian cause, putting pressure on France. Algeria's fight for independence marked a turning point, setting the stage for a new era. With independence in 1962, Algeria faced the mammoth task of nation-building. Suddenly, the Algerians found themselves in control of their own destiny, free from the shackles of colonial rule. Yet this freedom brought with it a new set of challenges. Political development was a key issue. The National Liberation Front, or FLN, the very force that had led the struggle against French rule, took the reins of power. However, the path to a stable, democratic nation was not smooth, with political infighting and coups marking the early years of independence. Economic development was another major task. With a heavy reliance on oil and gas exports, diversifying the economy became an urgent necessity. Similarly, social development, particularly in education and healthcare, became a priority. The legacy of the Algerian War, meanwhile, left deep scars on the nation. The memories of violence and destruction and the loss of countless lives remained etched in the nation's psyche. Independence brought challenges, but also opportunities for Algeria to shape its own destiny. Post-independence, Algeria experimented with socialism, leading to a period of political instability. The National Liberation Front, or FLN, took the helm of the newly formed nation, steering it towards a one-party socialist rule. This time was marked by significant political upheaval as the FLN sought to reshape the country's economic and social landscapes. However, the experiment was fraught with challenges. The centralized economy led to a series of economic crises as the country grappled with inefficiencies and a lack of diversification. The social unrest that followed was palpable, with widespread protests and strikes becoming a common sight. The political instability was further exacerbated by a lack of democratic processes and a concentration of power within the FLN. The resulting political and economic turmoil was a tumultuous period in Algeria's history, marked by a struggle for stability and prosperity in the face of adversity. This turbulent chapter in Algeria's history left the nation seeking stability and prosperity. The 1990s brought a dark period for Algeria, a brutal civil war. A conflict raged between the government and Islamist insurgents, a battle born from deep-seated political dissatisfaction and social unrest. The roots of this conflict can be traced back to the cancellation of the 1991 elections, a decision that sparked outrage among the Islamist parties poised for victory. The consequences were devastating. The nation was gripped by violence, as both sides committed acts that shocked the world. Human rights abuses were widespread. Torture, forced disappearances, and mass killings became horrifyingly routine, leaving a scar on the nation's psyche that lingers to this day. The war raged on for over a decade, ending in 2002. The loss of life was immense, with estimates ranging from 150,000 to 200,000 people. The civil war was a time of immense suffering, but also a turning point in Algeria's modern history, a period that would forever change the nation's trajectory. Today, Algeria stands as a nation shaped by its rich and tumultuous past. The contemporary Algeria we see is a tapestry of triumphs and trials, woven with threads of political reform, human rights, economic diversification, and social change. Political reform is a crucial issue as the nation seeks to balance the need for stability with the desire for democratic change. Human rights, too, remain a focal point, with ongoing efforts to reconcile past abuses and ensure future protections. Economically, Algeria is striving to diversify beyond its traditional reliance on oil and gas, exploring sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, and renewable energy. Social change is also afoot, with a new generation pushing for greater freedoms and opportunities. On the global stage, Algeria plays a significant role in regional politics and international affairs, its strategic location and historic ties shaping its influence. Algeria continues to evolve, driven by its history and the aspirations of its people for a better future.